Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit it. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, a joy to be with them each and every day, and I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Wrapping up the week in the Country Financial Studio. It's a Friday. It really feels like it's the start of the week because everything is going on around the University of Oregon Athletic Department. There is some new news and notes that you need to know to make sure that you're at Autzen Stadium. The surplus sale is coming up tomorrow. Oregon baseball and softball preparing for massive road series in the Big Ten, and Oregon softball has a chance to win the Big Ten dependent on results that come down the pipeline this weekend. Oregon golf as well. The men's golf team is in the Big Ten Championships, and they are underway at Pumpkin Ridge at the Big Ten Championships, and we'll continue to talk about Oregon football as well and the conclusion of the spring game as we now enter in towards the start of the 2026 season. And a big way that you can be a part of the 2026 season is to get to Autzen Stadium. And earlier today, an Oregon football mini plan for tickets announced for the Boise State and Portland State games on September 5th for Boise State, September 19th for Portland State. You can get there at Autzen Stadium. All you need to do is go to goducks.com/FBTix to get access to the Oregon football mini plan. There's also an add-on optional for the UCLA game on October 10th. It is open to the public, general open to the public, so make sure that you go check out goducks.com/FBTix to get into Autzen Stadium for the non-conference games against Boise State and Portland State, and potentially the optional add-on if you choose to go to the UCLA game on October 10th. Get to Autzen Stadium and bring some Duck swag with you, which you can get tomorrow at the surplus sale. It's the Oregon Equipment Surplus Sale at the Moshofsky Center tomorrow, May 2nd. It will run from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. or until all product is sold. It's an exclusive benefit. Oregon season ticket holders and Duck Athletic Fund donors are eligible for priority access to the surplus sale. They may begin lining up at 7:30 a.m. with the sale starting at 9 o'clock. A random line drawing, the lottery, will be held to determine which customers will enter first. All season ticket holders or donors with priority surplus sale ticket in line by 8 a.m. will be entered into a lottery. So if you have a ticket, you are a season ticket holder or a donor, then make sure that you are in line by 8 a.m. to be entered into the lottery, which will determine the order of entry. You may not line up prior to 7:30 a.m. Don't get there before 7:30. There's no reason to. It's a lottery. As long as you're there between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, then you will be optional to be the first person in, depending on how the lottery is drawn. The priority access line will begin at 7:30 at the northwest doors of the Moshofsky Center near the Duck Store entrance. General admission fans will be admitted at 10:30 a.m. if product remains, and those GA fans may line up beginning at 9 o'clock at the southeast corner of the Moshofsky Center facing Autzen Stadium. So if you are a season ticket holder, don't show up before 7:30. Show up between 7:30 and 8. You have as good of a chance as being the first person in the door if you are there at 7:59 as you are at 3 a.m. So don't show up at 3 a.m. Show up between 7:30 and 8. If you are a GA and you have a GA ticket, you are not a donor or a season ticket holder, then don't show up until 9 o'clock. That's when you can start lining up at the southeast corner of the Moshofsky Center. It doesn't help you if you show up early. Show up on time. The entire equipment staff is a great operation. They will make sure that people get in and out smoothly and make sure that you are there at the specific times, not before the specific times. Don't want people camping out, but it is a great event. I don't blame you for wanting to be there so early. Priority access tickets, you have to have them in order to get into the event. All patrons age 2 and above will be required to have a ticket. It is a no-cash sale. It is only Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover, or debit cards accepted. Make sure you got your ID ready. Small personal purses will be permitted, but no big bags will be allowed inside of the surplus sale at the Mashofsky Center. Bags will be provided for shopping. Parking is available on the east gravel lot of Autzen Stadium. Vehicles parked in other lots are subject to ticketing and or towing. So, what you need to do, again, make sure that you are parking in the east lot at Autzen Stadium. You are showing up if you are a season ticket holder or a donor to make sure that you are there between 7:30 a.m. and 8 a.m. so that you are eligible for the raffle. The doors won't open until 9 a.m. If you are a season ticket holder, make sure you are there between 7:30 and 8. If you are not, you have a ticket, but you're GA, make sure you are there at 9:30 when the line starts for you to get into the Mashofsky Center. If you are GA, make sure you get there at 9 for the 10:30 entrance into the Mashofsky Center. If you are a GA, have a GA ticket. The times, 7:30. That's when you can line up if you are a season ticket holder or a donor. 9 o'clock is when doors open for those season ticket holders and donors. Line up at 9 o'clock if you are a GA ticket. And at 10:30, it will open for all GA entrances to get into the surplus sale tomorrow. It's the best day of the year. It's Oregon Christmas. You can get all your Duck gear, and you can show up at Autzen Stadium starting in the 2026 year with all your new gear that you can get tomorrow at the surplus sale. You need to have already acquired a ticket. If you don't have one, sorry, can't get in. You need to have a ticket to get to the surplus sale. On the road this weekend, we have a few different diamond sports. Oregon baseball is playing up against Washington today. It's Duck baseball game day, 7 o'clock for the Ducks against the Huskies. It is a rivalry weekend. 7 o'clock Friday, 7 o'clock Saturday, 1 o'clock Sunday. That is the schedule for Oregon baseball against Washington. Oregon softball, they are also in action today against UCLA in a pivotal series for the Big Ten. 4 o'clock today, 1:30 on Saturday, 11 a.m. on Sunday. All games are on the Big Ten Network, and this is a pivotal series because the Ducks have a chance to win the Big Ten and repeat as conference champions if things fall right for Oregon. The way that the conference stands right now, Nebraska leads the way. They are 20-1 in Big Ten play. UCLA is 19-2. Oregon is 18-3. Those are the only three teams at this point that can win the Big Ten Conference in the regular season. Of course, Oregon and UCLA play each other. Right now, Nebraska's in the driver's seat. The Ducks or the Bruins, whoever wins this series between the two, needs some help from Penn State. Nebraska plays Penn State this weekend. So if you're Oregon, the path to win the Big Ten, it probably means sweeping UCLA. You have to win at least 2 to have a share in the regular season, and then you need a lot of help. Penn State needs to win the series against Nebraska for Oregon to have any sense of a chance to win the Big Ten in the regular season, and we're hoping for a Nittany Lions sweep. We're rooting for the Penn State this weekend. We're rooting for Oregon. We're rooting for Penn State. It's a big series. Coach Lombardi, she met with the media a few days ago talking about this series as Oregon goes down to play a team that is always challenging on the road in UCLA. 2 very good teams in conference and a big-time series to close the regular season. Here's Coach Lombardi and her thoughts on the weekend.
Kind of feel like postseason starts already as of this weekend. I know you want your team having kind of that mentality week to week, but does it feel like kind of it gets really real starting this weekend?
Yeah, I think we're closer we are. We're 2 weeks away, but knowing the super regional that we have this weekend with UCLA, I think it's very fitting.
You've used that terminology about other conference series. So does it feel, how are you approaching it? And then kind of another super regional, just like it has been each of the last couple of months, or does it feel a little different with kind of seeding implications and all that?
I would say it's a super regional like it's been every weekend, but obviously as you get closer and closer, this is a super regional against a ranked opponent that's really, really good that can really do great things for us. So we understand how important it is.
Do you find that maybe it's a little easier to go on the road for UCLA and then to the Big Ten tournament, given the playoff implications and the chance to host here in the playoffs?
I mean, anytime you play on the road, it's tough, especially to go there. It's tough. But I think this group has really prided themselves this year in being able to handle road series and do well with it. So we understand that in order for us to win, we're going to have to go on the road and show that we can win. I think they've done a good job of that all year.
Yeah, you faced elite competition away from home a lot early in the year, particularly. How much do you feel like setting that kind of a foundation a couple months ago can pay off now, entering the series like this and then beyond?
Yeah, I think it does set a really good foundation. What's cool is I look at stuff that's been showing up all year, and basically like right now, things that have been showing up in our series that wouldn't be possible if we weren't doing them in January or doing it early in the year. So I do agree that things that we've been preparing for, like we've been preparing for this for a long time. We're ready to go.
Does the pressure of being able to get a postseason series at home, because you know how important it was last year, does that add any pressure to this weekend, just in terms of importance of getting that home field advantage for the postseason?
Mm-hmm. I think from this point on, it just each weekend gets tougher and tougher. So I think the pressure is a privilege. I think, like you take pressure, what can you do? Apply pressure. So I think it's just them continuing to do really well at what they do, and that's it. No, it's okay. I don't think we have to go any extra. I think we need to just be ourselves. That's what we've been doing all year long. And just with that, we're getting hot right at the right time.
Okay, was this series kind of one that you guys had circled on the calendar given last year, and then seeing it was going to be the last series of this year, or is this you guys just taking it as, yeah, they're a ranked opponent, but it's just another series on the schedule?
No, we've had this one circled. This is a great series. Like, we can't wait to play this weekend.
Obviously, so much comes down to just, hey, you guys being you and doing your thing. Are there specific matchup elements, things like that you feel like are going to be really key to the outcome this weekend?
I think it's important that our pitching and our defense is like really good. We talk about pitching, defense winning championships. I think that is something that will be required this weekend. Our pitching to work ahead and to be able to keep their hitters off balance. I mean, they're a powerful team. And then what I love is that our offense has been scoring early and often, and I think it's important for us to continue to do that. So each area needs to take on strain, and if we can have all three cylinders firing at the same time, I think this group's a pretty good group.
You were talking about their offensive power when you were playing Ohio State last week, and you were second in the Big Ten in homers. Just how important has been getting Elise back and her drop ball and her changeup and the stuff she does at the bottom of the zone in terms of keeping the ball in the yard when you're going down to play a team like this?
I think it's really important. I think that's the thing. These guys have some power, if we give up a home run, great. Can we keep it to a solo? But I think if we have opportunity to put people away, that's what you need to do and not have the door open for them.
You mentioned having this matchup circled on your calendar and being ready for it, but there's some freshmen who haven't been in these type of situations before. How have you seen them prepare, or how have you prepared them for those tight pressure situations that they're about to face coming up?
Yeah, well, what I love is that they've played this tough schedule all year long. So I look at them at the beginning of the year and not quite ready and not knowing, but they've played enough now that they understand what's going on. And what I think is great too is that they have great leaders around them to help lead them through the weekend as well. But I think they've played enough of these weekends that I don't think of our freshmen as sophomore or our freshmen as freshmen anymore. I think of them as older athletes that have had a lot of experience up to this point. So for them, it's just to go do their thing. I don't think we need to overthink this either. I think we just need to go and play really good softball.
Well, along those same lines, we talked to a couple of your sophomores, K-Dub and Emma, and
yeah,
it's like the cliche is there's never a bigger jump than between your freshman and sophomore year, and they seem like veterans at this point. How battle tested are they, at this point in their careers for moments like this weekend and beyond?
I think they're extremely battle tested. I think our team overall is in a really good spot. I think it's just us going out and playing Oregon softball.
With last weekend and the three different, storylines throughout each game, did you feel that the Ohio State series polished anything up specifically going into the last series and playoffs?
Yeah, I do. I think again, we're playing a team that, is 3 in the country in home runs. They have over 100 home runs. So to see each game and how our pitching went about it, I thought our pitching actually got better as the weekend went along. I think that's really important. We're going to UCLA and teams to come after. We're going to face teams that have a lot of power, have speed, have great defense, have great pitching. Like we're going to see great teams from here on out. So it's important for us to be able to play the way that we know how to play. And I think you could see that throughout the weekend. I thought we got better as a team from each day as well.
Grant and Woolery, the first teammates to hit 30 homers in a season. Just what have you seen from them this year? And then what did you see from them here at the Jane last season?
Yeah, they're just powerful. They're excellent athletes, just great athletes. You can see they're great leaders and what they're doing over there. Since they were freshmen, I've been very impressed by them. So it's no surprise that they both got 30 right now. No surprise.
Lindsay obviously wears her heart on her sleeves. Exudes competitive energy. How does she, when she does get touched for a run, like what's her process of shaking it off? Because some competitors can have a hard time with that. How is she effective at keeping that kind of same mindset, that fiery mentality, but not letting something like that stick with her? And is that something she's had to learn a little bit over the years?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. Lots of times we get caught up in just the physical stuff that we do at practice, but we do a ton of mental training here. And every single one of them have been doing mental training all year. And, we talk a lot about not being in the red and understanding how to be in the blue. And, in a game, you're going to touch red at different times. It's just your ability to touch and get back to where you need to get to. And I think she has definitely showed that as a senior. I thought she showed that last year as well. But I just think as you get older and more experienced and you've been through these situations over and over, the experience gives you more opportunity and understanding how to adjust and, next pitch, what's the next right thing that you can do. So we've been preaching that all year.
There's got to be a great yin and yang, it seems like, between her and Emma, too, and just the way Emma is such a calming presence. Do you find that Lindsay benefits from that, even relies on it at all to kind of make sure she's in that right place where she needs to be moment to moment?
Yeah, I do. And each one of them will tell you, like if I asked anybody on the team and said, who's your person, they will instantly tell you who is that person that helps them create that balance, because you're in the heat of the moment, and sometimes it's easy for your emotions to get you. It's, there's a lot at stake, but when you can understand how to be in the moment and have the emotion that's required and how to reset, I think that's where we can make in-game adjustments. Like Saturday when we're down, I think we were down 4-0 and then able to come back and win the ball game. It's because of their mental approach, not so much their physical. I think it's because of how they handled it.
UCLA lost 2 of their 3 arms they brought up here last year to the transfer portal. Just how, when you're talking about the offensive game that softball is now, just how important is it to get to Taylor Tinsley early in this one and force them into their bullpen?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I think that's just been the key to our success all year, is how quickly can we get to the bullpen. So that's something that we want to try to do as soon as possible.
Coach Lombardi previewing the series against UCLA, 2 very talented teams between the Ducks and the Bruins, both posturing for Big Ten positioning going into the Big Ten tournament coming up next week. It's a big series down in Los Angeles. First game, 4 o'clock tonight on Big Ten Network. Some key players in the series and someone who's on an absolute heater at the plate. We're talking to the Duck backstop when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Friday, Toyota says let's put good times in gear with the Tundra, Tacoma, and 4Runner. Want some cool available features? We've got power tailgates to power game days and a trailer backup guide that's the champ of the ramp. Heck, we might even cancel Monday. Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio ahead of two massive weekends on the diamond for both Oregon softball and Oregon baseball in terms of their positioning going into the Big Ten tournament. For softball, it's the last regular season series of the year, and it starts tonight at 4 o'clock on Big Ten Network. All three games on Big Ten Network, Saturday at 1:30, Sunday at 11 a.m., and tonight at 4 o'clock. We just talked to Coach Lombardi. Now we're talking to somebody that's been a big reason why Oregon is in position to be within striking distance of the Big Ten championship here going into this final weekend of the year. That's the catcher, Emma Cox. In her sophomore season, she has been on a tear as of late. In her last 8 games, she's hit 7 home runs. In her last 17 games, she's had 37 runs batted in. She's averaging over 2 RBI a game over the last 17 games. That's not a small sample size anymore. She has been absolutely massive in the middle of Oregon's order, and she's been doing a great job of managing the pitching staff as the defensive backstop for Oregon behind the dish. Emma Cox has been a huge impact player for Oregon through this stretch run of the regular season. The Ducks are going to need her this weekend. She spoke with the media ahead of this series against UCLA.
Towards the end of the season, and, pitchers are throwing as much as they are, inevitably it kind of takes a little bit off of them towards the end of the year. When they get into a longer inning, how do you, help get them through that? Like, what do you turn to?
Yeah, I think definitely our pitchers are able to take care of themselves. They're pretty darn self-sufficient and great competitors as well. So luckily I'm not having to do damage control on the mound by any means, but when I go out there, I definitely try to just get them to focus on 1, maybe 2 things at max, and then just simplify things and allow them to compete as free as they can.
For those of us who have no idea what it's like to be as hot as you are right now, swinging the bat, does it feel much different? Either kind of the process of approaching each at bat. Obviously, the results look a little different, but do things feel much different other than just seeing the ball go out a little bit more?
I would say it definitely looks different process-wise. I think my process is something that I'm continuing to refine even now. So I'm not as worried about the results at all. I'm just kind of focused on how can I continue to put pressure on the defense every single at bat. Hit the ball hard through the infield is all I'm really trying to do, and swing at good pitches. And if I have runners on, get them in. So that's really all I'm focused on, I would say.
So you're not worried about the results, but as many homers this month as you had all of last season. Just Coach was saying the other day that it feels like things that were easier for you or difficult for you last year have become easier, just like a light switched on. Do you feel that a little bit, just like that you can things that were hard for you are just easier in your second season?
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely say that through experience, I've gained just a little bit more understanding and know more about myself as a player and as a hitter. I would say this month just continuing to do what I've been doing and continue to be process-driven. I think, just continuing to do what I'm doing. I definitely feel like I'm understanding myself as a hitter a little bit more and just as a player, and
it's a stereotype that players don't grow any more than they do between freshman and sophomore year. I mean, that's when players tend to take a big jump. Do you feel like you're embodying that? Do you feel like you have a sense now for kind of why that tends to hold true? Just any experiences you've gone through that say, yep, that's why that happens, not just for me, but for a lot of people my age.
Yeah, I think everybody figures it out at different times, but I do think you're right. There's a trend between freshman and sophomore year. I still don't think I've gotten it all figured out, and I want to steer clear of that kind of feeling, because I think there's still a long way for me to go. And obviously, until we're in the World Series and competing for a national championship, the job's not done yet. But I would just say that I'm grateful for failing, because eventually you just learn how to fail less, and I feel like that's the spot that I'm at, and continuing to learn from my failures and learn from my successes equally, and then keep pushing forward.
With everything that went great your way behind the plate and at the plate in the Washington series, and now going into this UCLA series, with kind of the lineup they have, what do you focus on behind the plate throughout the game, or like how do you, I guess, go through plan of attack?
Yeah, I would say I don't think our process changes based on who we're playing. It changes a little bit. You got to be smart when you're pitching to certain hitters, but for the most part, our process stays the same. We're trying to hit corners and get ahead early, and then put people away with change of speeds or get them to chase. I would say going into this weekend, I think a big part for us is continuing to not be complacent in everything that we do, but also not give anybody too much credit until they earn it against us. So going out there and competing like we would anybody at the end of the day, like it's a different pitcher throwing the ball at us and it's a different hitter hitting the ball at us, but the game stays the same. So continuing to keep it simple and continuing to play the game regardless of who we're playing, I think is the most important thing.
Is that kind of just the process in terms of trying to be a little bit of a coach out there for the pitchers when you guys are facing, hitters like Grant and Woolery you guys faced last year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're a great program. They're great hitters. I think there's a lot of people that can do damage in their lineup, but I also have complete trust in our pitchers and what they can do. And I think when we go out there and we get ahead and we command the corners of the plate, we have a great chance against anybody in the country. So,
what have you seen in terms of Elise's comfort the last couple of weeks, just since coming back? 19 innings when she's been actually able to give this team a lot of volume. Just what have you seen from her out there?
Yeah, I've just seen a lot of confidence and a lot of just like knowing what she's trying to do on the plate, like being very decisive. I think she's done a great job of commanding her drop ball on both sides of the plate and commanding her changeup low in the zone, and then being able to get some swings and misses and change eye levels with the rise ball. I think she's done a great job fundamentally, but I'm even proud of her more mentally, because I think it is difficult to come back from an injury, and I think the mental work that she put in while she was hurt is definitely showing up right now, and that speaks to her character and who she is as a player, and I think she's done a great job, and I'm excited to see what she continues to do for us.
Just going back a little bit to, you mentioned learning from failures and building from that. What was something that you've learned about yourself throughout those failures that you didn't know possibly about yourself through the wins that kind of helped you turn that page in your performance this season?
Yeah, I would say just on a tangible level, one of the smaller things that's been really big for me offensively is just realizing how simple I need to keep it. I'm not as much worried about what the pitcher's throwing, but more about what I want to hit, and knowing what I'm good at the plate, knowing that in order to hit the ball hard, I got to be on time and I got to have good pitch selection, keeping it really simple and keeping it consistent, my approach for every single pitcher, every single game. So I'd say keeping it consistent and keeping it simple. Those are the two things that I've tried to focus on.
Okay, and looking on defense, you go back to February, you threw out a bunch of runners, picked a few off and all that kind of stuff. Move ahead to April, and 4 runners the entire month tried to steal a base against Oregon. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that the teams are running less, and do you feel that like taking that part of the game away is a way that you are helping the team? Yeah, I definitely think that if I'm able to keep the runners where they're at, I'm
I am helping the team, and I'm also just giving a little bit extra confidence and calmness to our pitchers. I will say I think I can do a better job of throwing out the runners that do steal. Like the 4 runners in April, I think that I should have thrown all 4 of them out just because I wasn't expecting it. So that's more of a mental adjustment for me. But yeah, I would say continuing to be ready and anticipating a steal every pitch is somewhere I can grow this next month and going into postseason.
Teams have stopped running on her. It's because she's so dangerous defensively. She really has started to evolve into such a complete player for Oregon behind the plate. It's been cool to see her in her sophomore year. We talked with another sophomore ahead of what is a very pivotal series that starts today, 4 o'clock on Big Ten Network, Oregon softball versus UCLA, continuing to talk Ducks on the diamond when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It's really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Fun in the Country Financial Studio today, getting ready for a big weekend of road sports on the diamond for both Oregon baseball and Oregon softball. Big Ten Network will televise all 3 games for Oregon softball this weekend, starting tonight at 4 o'clock. And we just talked with one sophomore, Emma Cox. How about Kaylin Jones, who's making one heck of an impact for Oregon? A different type of threat, but her speed on the bases, her gap-to-gap power, her just prowess defensively, she has been somebody that has been a very strong asset for Coach Lombardi's team down the stretch run of this season. It really feels like there are a few sophomores that are continuing to develop and round into form, and these are the 2. Emma Cox and now Kaylin Jones, who spoke with the media a few days ago ahead of a massive series against UCLA.
All right, sweet. Last series, every game was a little bit of, something else. Shutout in game 1. Game 2 was kind of like game 1, and then you flipped on the switch and were able to come back, and then game 3 was the run rule. Did you feel that series polished anything up that kind of need touching up before going into this last series and then into playoffs?
I just think it reminds us not to take any team light. I mean, anybody can do anything. So I think it's just going in there at a high intent, no matter who we're playing, no matter what name is across their chest, and no matter what name we're wearing, it's just compete.
You're a big part of this series against UCLA last year with your first career homer. Just how do you approach a series when you know the magnitude that it has and in terms of not only conference implications but postseason implications as well?
Playing UCLA is always exciting. I know I've only done it once, but growing up watching UCLA was always a top school. And just knowing that me last year compared to me this year is completely different, and to just go out there and play at the level I know how to compete at and just, again, continue to move forward, and all we got to do is just continue to progress.
Going off of that, saying that you're different this year from last year, I mean, that happens with player development and growth. How have you felt yourself, I guess, this year develop more at the plate, especially going into this last year?
I feel like compared to last year, I have a lot more tools in my belt, so I think being able to swing away more consistently now and power slap in everything that I can do, it just shows me that slapping is unpredictable, to be honest. Like, we don't know what's going to happen, and just continue to grow from it.
I've got one more then. You were speaking last weekend about, your development with Taryn up the middle and how it kind of felt like you and Paige last year, and you're excited to play more seasons with her. Have you been, you're a sophomore, she's a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that, there's been some learning going on between the both of you. What have you been kind of taking away from her?
She reminds me of me last year. She's just going and competing, so it's doing what she's told, doing what she knows how to do, and just playing, which is so good to see from her, because I know me last year, I was stressed out and it was a lot on my plate, and to see her just compete freely is amazing to see, and just to see that it doesn't matter how old you are, nobody across the dugout knows how old you are, so I think just to compete at the highest level possible is good to see from Taryn at a young age.
You guys attacked Taylor Tinsley pretty well in the circle last year. Just what do you remember seeing from her, because she's been the biggest arm for UCLA this season?
She's a great pitcher. I mean, there's a lot of great pitchers at this level, and just to know that everything we're doing to prepare for her is going to work out for us. Trust our process, and again, just compete. It's going to be a fist fight, so continue to lean on each other and do everything that we've done to prepare for her.
It's going to be like a postseason caliber series already.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you feel like you guys are transitioning into that mindset this week already, just like kind of that postseason mentality?
Yeah, I think we've tried to do that all year long. I mean, some games haven't went our way, but just to continue to see that what we do at practice is preparing us for postseason, and we're super excited. I mean, we have Big Ten next, and we're super excited to see that we host a regional.
You had so many high-level opponents early in the year.
Mm-hmm.
As you look back, kind of setting the bar there, and then growing through the season how you did, do you feel like that's paying dividends with where you're at? Just to feel how you're feeling as a group?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just got to continue to work together. Continue to, Coach used to use this phrase a lot last year, our growing pains. Like, take those growing pains into consideration, that it's doing is to prepare us for the next level.
How's Ace doing?
Still a Velcro pup. He's good. Still eating his treats and playing with softball, so he's good.
Just the way that they should be, right? It'll be so fun to see Oregon as they continue to develop through the end of this regular season, then into postseason play. I mean, I don't know if anybody's looked out yet, but we're kind of at the end of the year here. We're right at the stretch run of this thing. Outdoor track and field is in full swing. Oregon softball is about to head into their postseason. It feels like a postseason series coming up this weekend against UCLA. 4 o'clock today, 1:30 tomorrow, 11 a.m. on Sunday. All games televised on the Big Ten Network. All three of them network games because of how big this series is. It's a huge series between the Ducks and the Bruins. It's a classic conference rivalry, and Oregon is looking to get out on top once again. It's also a rivalry weekend for Oregon baseball as they travel to Washington. Touching on that, and also getting to some more Oregon football players from the spring game this last weekend. All that and more on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. A big series for Oregon softball coming up this weekend. All games televised on the Big Ten Network. Also a big series for Oregon baseball this weekend with the Ducks on the road playing against Washington. 7 o'clock today, 7 o'clock Saturday, 1 o'clock on Sunday for Oregon baseball. Will Sanford getting the ball against Washington. It always means more when it is the Ducks versus the Dogs. And behind the broadcast, Joey Mack is on the road with Oregon baseball, and we always record the pregame interviews with Mark Wasikowski, but before the game actually happens on the road, it's pretty much always during breakfast. And Joey asked Waz on today's Coach's Corner. Make sure you listen to it on the pregame show on the Oregon Sports Network, 6:45 pregame show. Well, Joey asked Waz, it's a rivalry. And Waz gave a very funny answer along the lines of, there's nothing to like. They're terrible colors. Why would you like them? So that tells you what Waz is feeling about the rivalry. If you want to hear the whole conversation with Joey Mack and Mark Wasikowski, make sure you tune in to the pregame show at 6:45 tonight ahead of a 7 o'clock game for Oregon against Washington. 7 o'clock tomorrow, 1 o'clock on Sunday for the Ducks and the Dogs. If you're live with us on YouTube, Facebook, it is also not only just a big weekend for Oregon athletics, but also a big weekend really for all athletics because it's Kentucky Derby weekend. And this is the first time since I've been here that the Kentucky Derby has happened in a weekend that Oregon's been on the road, because normally it's happened each of the last 2 years that it's been Kentucky Derby weekend, and then also Rob Mullins has come up to the booth for Oregon baseball, and Rob has been to the Kentucky Derby. And we normally get to have a great conversation with Rob Mullins about the Kentucky Derby, about all the fashion around the Kentucky Derby. It feels a little bit different to have a Kentucky Derby weekend and not have a home baseball game. I've just become so accustomed to it. Who am I rooting for in the Kentucky Derby? I'm glad you asked, everybody, because I am rooting for Incredibolt. Because I think the names are great this year. I was talking in the studio with Scott and Coulter, and they're like, I'm not really sure if I'm feeling the names this year. I think this might be like the best named Kentucky Derby year in like a really long time. You've got horses like Litmus Test, Right to Party, So Happy, The Puma. You've got Chief Wallaby, Emerging Market, Six Speed, Further Ado, Great White. These are great names for the Kentucky Derby.
You left out my guy.
Oh, what
Number 6.
Your guy is Commandment.
Yeah, there he is.
You're a Commandment fan.
Yep, the odds are in his favor. I'm telling you.
Well, the odds are more in his favor than Incredibolt, but Incredibolt just embodies speed, right?
I think of Lightning McQueen when I hear that.
Yeah,
right?
And they're running a race.
Ka-chow. Ka-chow.
I'm a big fan of Incredibolt. I know nothing about horse racing. I am looking strictly at the start list, but I just can't, Scott. I don't. Why do you think the names are not very good this year? I think the names are awesome.
I didn't really have a chance to look at all of them and scrutinize them, but
fair.
In past years, I just feel like they were. Maybe I was younger at the time, and I thought I was more excited about it. But now I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen all these names.
I am excited about all of these names. Chief Wallaby would be my
That's
my
a good,
second
that's a
in
good
command.
one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Incredible Chief Wallaby. I hope they're nose to nose at the line. Also on YouTube, Steve asked, Ryan, what was your marathon time, if you don't mind? I'd love to tell you. I ran a 3:06:45 marathon at the Eugene Marathon. It was so. I'll tell a little bit about my race strategy, kind of going in. I had been planning the whole time to run like a 3:15 marathon, and I was like, yeah, anything under 3:15 I'm happy with. And then, we're here around so many great track and field athletes, and everybody was telling me like, well, you're running a marathon, make sure you get carbon-plated shoes. And I was like, okay, I'll get carbon-plated shoes, and they're not durable at all. And so I went on a run when Oregon baseball was in Champaign. I went on a run. It was like a 12-miler. It was the last long one on my block, and I wore the carbon shoes to break them in. And it was like an unreal run. It felt like a super easy, like 12 miles. It was faster than normal pace, and I was like, oh. And then Scott could tell you, I was getting like really ambitious in here. I was like, maybe I could think about like sub 3. Like I never really considered sub 3 before, but like if everything goes perfect, like maybe. And then I was running, and at the start of the marathon, I was like, let's be really conservative. I passed mile 5, and some random guy who was playing metal guitar, wearing a full Batman costume, whose identity shall not be named, was playing, and I was like, I feel super good, burst of energy. And I get to, mile 13, and I'm sub 3-hour pace still, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is unreal. And then I passed the baseball managers at mile 16 who were out on the course cheering me on, and I'm like, guys, I feel awesome. Like, I could go sub 3. And then I hit mile 18. And from mile 18 to mile 26, I was in the deepest depths of pain ever, really. Really, it was just not a very fun time from then on. So it slowed down pretty significantly, and I got a 3:06. But, Steve, thanks for asking. I appreciate it. And thanks to everybody who was along the course of the Eugene Marathon cheering everybody on. It was great. It was a great weekend with the Eugene Marathon the day after the Oregon football spring game. We're continuing to touch on the spring game because DeCorian Moore, he was somebody who caught a few passes at the spring game. It was great to see him back in action. Let's hear from the Oregon wide receiver, DeCorian Moore.
How'd it feel to be out there again today, out with Autzen and packed full of fans, and to kind of get that walk-off touchdown at the end?
Yeah, I would say it felt amazing. Honestly, just being out there with the fans. Last year was kind of a little bit of jitters. First game out there on the stadium. This year was more so trying to have fun, making sure I'm flying around, doing everything that I'm been doing, this whole spring.
You and Dante connected twice on the first drive. I mean, how has that connection deepened over this spring with you guys?
Yeah, I would say it's built a lot more than it did last year. Last year, he brought me in. Made sure I was in with the older guys, just seeing the potential in me. This year, he already know what I can do, so just trying to get me started early, making sure, I get warm and stuff like that. And it ultimately exploded to what, ended the game.
Couldn't help but notice at the end of the game, you and Evan Stewart embraced. What was it like just watching him get back on the field? I know he's on the opposite team, but just to watch him kind of ball out and have the day that he sort of had in his first game back in nearly 2 years.
Yeah, it's amazing. With just us being receivers, we got that competitive spirit. So all week we've been talking stuff to each other, back and forth, who's going to win, this group and that group, being that we was captains on the team. So being that we was both playmakers, we both making plays, on this side, that side. At the end of the game, y'all see, I came out with the dub, so I couldn't do nothing but go up to him and, express my emotion. But it was fun.
Walk us through the touchdown, maybe what happened on the release to create separation, and then just what was the feeling when you saw the ball was on target from Brock?
Yeah, so I already knew, I kind of already knew I was getting the ball right there. But I had a double move. It was supposed to be a stop and go. But I seen the Dorian Brew, the DB, was outside leverage. So I just took it inside, knowing he's ready to run, game on the line, time not really, what we want it to be. So I took it inside, messed up his mind a little bit, just used my God-given ability to run past him and got the ball that I needed, and we connected.
Building off that with Eastu, just what did you see from him? He's talked about this spring being a kind of like a do-or-die situation for him, kind of realizing that it's his last year in college football. Just what have you seen from him this spring as a leader within that receiver room, and then just getting out there on the field today and kind of just having a moment to kind of get back out there after 17 months since the last time he was in Autzen?
Yep, I would say it's the same thing that I seen during my recruitment phase. Just him being the person that he is, like all the energy he walks in, same energy every day. It was the same thing last year. Giving energy, whether he's on or off the field, being a leader, being more outspoken this year, that's one thing that was very challenging for him. So just us trying to help him on and off the field with communicating, trying to lessen his job, knowing all the stakes they have. So me, J-Mac, Strap, all the receivers that we got this year, just trying to make it easy on him, get him his one-on-ones because we know what he can do with them. So he's doing good.
Guys like Tez and Troy there on the sideline, and you got people being drafted during the game and getting announced on the big board. What's that experience like, having those NFL guys back to help teach you and then guys going to the league while you're playing as well?
Yeah, it was amazing. They kind of came in and just gave the same energy that they had when they was once here. If I'm being honest, I was recruited while they players were still here, so I already had a connection with them before they left. So, man, that they came back, it was basically like seeing your brother, when they come home, from a long visit or, something like that. So just all good vibes in general.
Kind of building off that, is it inspiring to see them when they're, not only are they in the NFL, but they're elite talent in the NFL, and they're coming back for a spring game? It's a spring game. So yeah. Is that inspiring to you?
Definitely inspiring. I watch how hard they worked in practice. So just knowing how hard they worked in practice, everything that they, put forward to get to where they at now, just saying that dreams actually come true definitely motivated me to go out there and do what I did today.
Where do you feel like the offense took the steps from day one of spring ball and now as you guys go into individual offseason? Where do you feel like the offense took steps?
I would definitely say just finding vocal leaders on the team. Still a lot of guys that I feel like need to speak up more. A lot of guys who have the potential to be leaders on the team. But nevertheless, we got a lot of new guys, still trying to figure out the playbook and stuff like that, trying to move around, play fast and stuff like that, but a ton of talent everywhere, so just making sure that we doing it exactly what we need to, giving 100% effort, and I feel like we're going to go, as far as we want to.
Bro, Camp, you mentioned that coming into your first spring game last year, you had some jitters until you got that first catch out of the way. What type of advice did you give to the new guys coming in, being their first spring camp in front of that Autzen crowd like you mentioned before?
Yeah, regardless, the crowd going to be there. Just telling them that the crowd going to be there regardless if it's them saying it over social media, them saying it in person, the crowd going to be there. We on the field between them white lines, that's all you need to worry about. Just making plays, everything that we've been doing through spring. So, just giving them the confidence, making sure that they know that the ball is going to come to you regardless. You know what I'm saying? So just do what you got to do, and the ball finds good energy. So just making sure they stay high-headed, not getting stressed out over, the little things that I did last year, and everything was all good.
You're going to continue to compete for track and field in the spring. What went into that decision, and how meaningful was it for you to get the support from the guys when you first competed?
Yeah, so most people don't know this, but I started track and football at the same time. I was around 5 years old when I started. So a lot of people just think, I'm hopping in the track because I've been doing it in high school. I've been doing it my whole life. So I actually have a ton of love for it. And being that I'm good at it, I was supposed to do it when I first got here. But after them football workouts, I said that wasn't happening, So I took the year, to focus on football, and now I feel like I'm ready. So I'm out there, and then all the whole week of me jumping, but before I jumped, they was telling me in the meetings, like, we're going to be there regardless if you do good, bad, you scratch, foul, whatever you do, we're going to be cheering for you, understand? So that was all the motivation and support that I needed to go out there and do what I did.
Two-sport athlete Decorian Moore at the spring game last week, and now he's competing with Oregon track and field for the rest of the outdoor season. Getting you ready for the rest of the weekend when we return to Second Side on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs, and for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
We just kind of knew from the beginning that we were family.
They showcased a sense of love that I never had before. I mean, he's not only my parent, like he's like my best friend.
At the end of the day, it's all been worth it. I wouldn't change a thing about our lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom? She started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide arms for this wayward son? I left my heart in.
We're back inside the Country Financial Studio, getting you ready for the weekend. Talking about Oregon track and field. DeCorian Moore, the two-sport athlete. Well, Oregon track and field is in 2 different places this weekend, both at Oregon State and down at Arizona, competing split squad this weekend. Oregon men's golf competing through their first round of the Big Ten Championships are on the course right now. A little bit of a slow start for Oregon men's golf, but they're only through the front 9. Still a long way to go in the 54-hole contest over the course of the weekend. Also, Oregon surplus sale coming up this weekend. If you already have your ticket, you have to have your ticket, but it's a 7:30 lineup. Don't get there sooner for a 9 a.m. entry at the surplus sale if you're a season ticket holder or a donor. Oregon softball, 4 o'clock, 1:30, 11 a.m. over the course of this weekend, all on Big Ten Network. And then baseball, 7, 7, and 1, the times on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against Washington. Big weekend. I'll break it all down for you on Monday. Go Ducks, everybody.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive